Alan Bates getting 15% or offered 15% of what he asked for?
I mean, Alan is a hero and deserves compensation that is, consistent with that. There are 3 different compensation schemes that Parliament has been working on, the government working on relating to it. There have been a lot of changes within them, but I think the whole country will want to see that level of compensation be commensurate to the kind of pain and suffering people have been under. So clearly, I've seen this story this morning. This will need looking at, and we'll raise that with the government.
So you should get more?
There's a slight complexity about people's circumstances and which of the schemes they qualify for. So I've got to look at the detail of that, but I think people would recognise that when you've had something which is such a significant, miscarriage of justice, but also something that's caused such a terrible burden on people themselves, I think people recognise the role of compensation is to make that good as best it can, and that will have to be looked at.
Can we go as far as to say that this isn't sitting well with you?
Absolutely. I mean, the whole situation. We've obviously been dealing with this in Parliament for a while, and there was this logjam issue as to how people wouldn't want to come forward. They were so burnt by the experience of the legal system that they wouldn't even take part in the system to exonerate them. So we've found a way through that. It's quite radical with the legislation that we'll consider to come forward and do that. But this is huge. This is everything about how power and the accountability of that power is exercised. As someone who wants to be a government minister one day, hopefully if we win an election, it makes me think about how does government function? How are ministers told? How are people held to account for the power they've wielded? So this is very, very significant. The inquiry is the right thing to find the answers to this, but everyone has agreed that compensation for the people affected is a priority.
Your first business conference kicks off today. What's the plan?
Well, it's a big event. It's not the first one we've done, but it's the biggest one that we have ever done. And fundamentally, it's about how can we work with business leaders to drive up investment in the UK, sort out the fact the UK has the lowest business investment in the G7, get productivity improved out of that, better economic growth. It's all about an economy that delivers more for working people, that puts some money in their pockets. And we feel we've got to work with businesses to do that, talk to them about our plans, communicate that, work with them on the future things that are needed, and that's what the day is about. So I'm really looking forward to it.
To that end, you're saying now that you won't reinstate the ban on bankers' bonuses. Only a few months ago, the Shadow Chancellor was tweeting that the decision to scrap the cap in the midst of a cost of living crisis tells you everything you need to know about this Tory government. Does it tell us everything we need to know about you flip-flopping now?
Well, no, look, we never pledged that we would bring it back. I stand by all of those comments because I think when people's energy bills...
Not coming back.
Well,
the ban's coming back, I should say.
It's not a ban, it's a cap. It's not about people earning more, I should say. It's about the balance between what is basic pay and what is bonus. But it was of its time.
Let me put it another way, then you can't wriggle out of it. Are you going to keep the cap in place? Are you going to put the cap back?
No, we're not. We're not going to bring it back. There's no other kind of comparative to this. Well, because it was of its time post-financial crisis. The reforms that were put in place around the stability of banks and how other rules relating to bonuses in terms of how misconduct can mean that bonuses is pulled back, that is more important. Really, all this has done is hasn't really delivered what was originally intended. It's made it slightly hard to transfer staff between this country and other countries. But as a policy to deliver what the British economy needs, it's not a priority. So
why did the Shadow Chancellor say that, then?
Well, I think when people's energy bills and food prices are high, it's a kind of an odd decision for the government to do it. They are, but that's a different question to whether you reverse a decision the government has made and bring it back. It's not a priority. If I was here saying the way to get the economy to grow more, to put more money in people's pockets, is to bring this back, that argument wouldn't stand up, to be honest.
So just to clarify, Labour's happy to cap child benefit but not bankers' bonuses?
Well, I would not make that comparison.
I just did.
Look, the point around this is not about limiting. The bankers' bonus policy was never about how much people are paid. It's the structure. So basically, what was previously bonus went into basic pay. So I just want to be clear, this is not about people saying bankers should earn more. That's not our view.
But you're capping child benefit but not bankers' bonuses. Well, bottom line.
Look, there are lots of things in the social security system I would like to see changed. The health of the economy at the minute isn't one that you can make these kind of pledges on because, frankly, the strain that system is under is too great. What you have to do is what we're doing today, which is how can you grow the British economy? How can you drive up business investment, stronger growth, stronger productivity? How can you make the net zero transition work for working people? All of this requires a strong relationship with the business community. OK, so you are content. And back to the future with Lord Mandelson now, Peter Mandelson back in 1999, New Labour, saying that New Labour is intensely relaxed about people getting filthy rich. He said as long as they pay their taxes. But no, I think the gap in inequality, the gap between rich and poor, I think it has an effect on society. I'm not casual or inconsistent on that. But if we were looking and putting forward, as we are, the kind of policies that will make the biggest difference to the British economy, we've got to focus on things that will do that. That's about industrial strategy. It's about public investment. It's about how we'll reform the apprenticeship levy and improve the relationship to the European Union in terms of that trade deal. If anyone doubts our commitment to a fairer economy, I would say look at our proposals to scrap the non-dom tax regime for the super-rich. Look at our proposals to change the taxation of private education and put that money into state education. Look at our proposals on job security and employment rights, a really big package, what we call the New Deal for working people from Labour. So I'm pretty clear we've got a very strong offer on a stronger economy, but also a fairer one too.
I can't remember, Mr Reynolds, are you a dog owner or not?
I am a dog owner. I'm actually a winner of Westminster Dog of the Year. I won it back for Labour after a bit of a gap.
I knew, but I just wanted to make sure that your lovely doggy was still with us. How do you feel about this decision to put down healthy XL bullies?
Well, look, it's clearly difficult and very difficult for the people involved, but I think there are sound reasons about the risks to the public that has resulted in us getting to this position. So I appreciate it's not easy, but public safety is clearly very important and must always be the priority.
OK. Just to clarify, I know you've got a dash, I know, I'm letting you go. There's two Jonathans in the shadow cabinet. Is it right that they differentiate by calling you Johnny?
Well, everyone calls me Johnny, but the honest truth is my mum has never liked Johnny.
No.
So I've always promised to be Jonathan in official terms. But we don't get mixed up too much, so it's not too much of a...
I can't see that you would. It's good, although I did call him Jonathan Reynolds when he was on the show last week. It's good to see you.
Should be flattered.
Yeah. I'm going to let you go. It's good to see you. Thanks
Thank you
very
very
much
much
indeed for joining us. Thank you.